Hello everyone, I'm Jim. I am passionate about coffee. I've been competing in different categories in Australia, like latte art, coffee in good spirit, brewers cup, and right now we're preparing for a Barista comp for the upcoming 2025. We know the day before our regional comp, so what we're doing now, we're just tracing on the coffee aging. Right now I'm working as a sales and account managers and representing Artisti Coffee Roasters in Sydney. So my parents works in hospitality as well, so when I was young, I was 18, 19 years old, I was starting my first part-time job as a kitchen hand. I really want to learn something new, and I found out barista looks a bit chill, casual, so I'm willing to know what they're doing behind the bar, and that's how I started my first cafe job. Just working over there, washing dishes, and start learning how to make coffee at the first beginning. And I think my first real specialty coffee job was after 3-4 years after that. It was in a specialty coffee, specialty cafe, and then they were serving something like Ethiopian coffee that I really enjoyed. And then I started asking them how to make coffee taste good. And yeah, that's how I dig into the rabbit hole when I try to learn more about coffee and finding like it's really different to make coffee and making a really good coffee.
What bean's that one, Jim?
It's coffee from Ethiopian.
Ethiopian coffee?
Yeah,
Yep.
so there's a region called Messina.
Your flat white?
Not the ice cream Messina. There's a region called Messina. And then
How's that one processed?
it's processed by a wash processing, but a little bit different than traditional wash. Latte art was the first thing. When I think that was the reason I tried to get into coffee competition as well. So while back into 2018, there's Japanese barista just won the first place in Australia with latte art, and then I got struck at like how nice that he can pouring steady, beautiful design on top of the coffee, and then I try to replicate how he pour, and I can't do it. And then I was like, no, I need to nail it. I need to practice, and one day I need to pour something similar. And then that's how I really find my passions of making coffee. Then slowly learning how to extract the coffee and steam the milk correctly, and how to hold the jar, how to get the portion right, until like year later we can finally pour the same thing like what he has been done in the national stage. So yeah. So it's called Carbonic maceration wash. So what they does is they put the whole cherry in a sealed barrel and then inject the CO2 inside to put the oxygens out after a certain amount of time, and then they take it out back to the classic wash processing, like pulp it, just the green bean, and then let it dry it on African back. So like classic Ethiopian coffee, you will enjoy a lot of, you will enjoy a lot of that citrus, floral, like orange, something like cherry blossom. But with that carbonic maceration wash, then you can find a bit more layer of the sparkling acidity, almost like peach, stone fruit, a little bit more elegant, silkier texture in the coffee as well. Obviously the whole the presentation, because it's at the end of the day, it's standing on the stage performance, but also there's a score sheet based on you need to pour 6 drinks, and you need to have 3 design. They will have like 2 cups, then pouring exactly the same. They will determine like, are you pouring exactly the same thing? They'll observe the survey, is it clean, it's a nice contrast, and how difficult it is, how creative it is that the design that someone used before, or it's like an original design. And obviously, they will see how fast that you can do it. There's time limit there. There's like 10 minutes time, you need to pour like 6 coffee, including you pouring your shots, steaming your milk, so that's pretty tight right now while you're pouring some complex design.
So this coffee, you're testing it for competition?
Yes. So we're trialing few coffees at the moment, but like this is one of the options.
Yeah.
Because we're just looking at something like clean wash processing, a bit more sparkling on the acidity, but also balance.
Yeah.
And this is one of the really good options. We really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Really enjoy the jasmine green tea quality in the coffee.
Yeah.
What we're doing today, we just try to refine the roast profile to get a bit more sweetness out, get a bit more texture out of the coffee, and balance it out in between the acidity and the sweetness. So
How many times have you roasted it so far?
I don't know, countless, like
Countless times
yeah,
on the Alio?
on the Ariel, Rock Bullet. Since yesterday, we try like, I don't know, 5 or 6. Today we're gonna do another few more.
Feel like you're getting closer?
It's always getting closer. We trial and error, like.
Yeah.
I would say interesting on how it pronounced. Like each roast, we just try to. It's never gonna be one shot and then right on spot. It's always gonna be each roast. We just see how the coffee behave. If that coffee tastes better when it's having longer stretch or shorter roasting time or longer development, shorter development, you can tell like how this particular coffee behave in that particular roaster. So yeah.
What are we at?
You can't like it's still stressed, it's still nervous. You can ask them like even the experienced competitor competing for 10 years, 20 years, they're still handshaking, I guess. I think just practice. There's no other way to dealing with the nervous, and I so called that. Now it's more excited. Like imagine that when you're up on stage, you're preparing for a long time. You try to put everything that you can on stage. Is a lot of excitement in there, and yeah, like while you try to represent yourself and your company, and you try to pour the best out of yourself in front of people, it's always with handshaking. However, there's a little trick. You can do a few push-ups. You can do a little bit yelling at the backstage to get yourself a bit calmed down. But just be yourself. Like. It's a barista competition. So when we talk about competition, is a lot of categories in there like latte art, cup taster, brewer's cup, roasting, and barista. And we always call baristas the most challenging and hardest category because it including everything. So you need to prepare your own coffee. So you need to serve 12 drinks in 15 minutes.
I'm just hesitant a little.
Yeah.
We'd have a little
to play around with.
93, so it's low density, high moisture.
The order will be we can start with this coffee.
Yeah.
Because this is like the last option that we can use.
Yep.
And then start with this, and this is the highest priority. If we can try this too, if we can find something like closer, and then we can do a final one.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. When are we going to try and roast these today? The final roast.
What's the plan for tomorrow? Not just about time, you need to make it delicious. So you need to serve 4 espresso, 4 milk drinks, and 4 signature drinks. So in the preparation, we need to find our own coffee, like your own coffee beans. You need to find your own routine, just like arrange the whole workflow, and also arrange everything, like your equipments, how you're gonna prepare for your milk and espresso. Every single thing just goes into detail, so you can manage in that 15 minutes. And the reason why we call this most challenging is because so many detail comes in together, and then one simple mistake can ruin the whole 15 minutes. So that's why Barista normally is the 15 minutes is the longest routine in the competition scene, and also it's the most challenging because you need to make like the 12 drinks like a lot in 15 minutes, and you need to make it consistent without any mistake, so you can replicate the same thing over and over again. In Barista.com, they will judge by each drink in different standards. So like taste will be the most identical thing that we can find. For example, if they're tasting espresso, they will find is that balance, is that very bright acidity, is a lot of like bitterness in there, or is that a lot of like sweetness in there. We always aim to go for the most balanced coffee that we can find. For also the tactile experience, are they getting the coffee watery, or are they getting the coffee creamy, silky, or is that complex enough in the coffee? Does that have a lot of different flavor in there, like melon, strawberry, or maybe some citrus orange, or just very simple plain coffee. So everything comes in together, not just one identical things, and they could judge coffee a bit more objective as well. We now the day before our regional comp, so what we're doing now, we're just tasting on the coffee aging. So right now we have our espresso going on. We just finished tasting on the freeze coffee. So we froze coffee 2 days ago, and we also have some coffee aged 2 weeks ago as well in the room temp. So we just do it side by side, see which one's better, and then also finding a good ratio for it. We might try to get something like good balance, and throughout that we just finished tasting the frozen coffee, and we got a pretty good room in the ratio. But now we're gonna taste the aged coffee. It's a teamwork, so it's really difficult to go by yourself. We often, if you go on YouTube, you watch a lot of like World Barista competition routine. You see people standing in front and just presenting everything. However, there's a lot of work behind. Like your roaster, someone who finds you the green bean, you got your coach, you got your assistant on the comp day, and it's really like a teamwork. Like while I work in Artisti, where literally just whole team brings everything together. We got people to roast the coffee, we got people to watching me how to speak, timing me, and we got game plan. It's really like how you're doing an Olympic game, like a sportsmanship. Like you got your coach to monitoring you every week until the game day, so you can do the best performance throughout the day. Not saying that I'm not important, but but at the end of the day, you're the one who's standing in front and just presenting the best out of it. But behind it, there's a lot of hard works. Yeah.
So you just did a couple of different things on the actual dose. What did you change?
we change the grind size. Two things that we change. First thing we go for is the ratio. We try to get enough. We try to get the right amount of doughs in the basket, so we can get the right ratio to open up the whole coffee. But in the meantime, we also adjust the grind size a little bit as well, to let it run a little bit faster, sitting in around like 27-30 seconds room, so we can get the good sweetness appealing throughout the time. I should blend this in first before I put this in. Everyone was looking for the first place. Like, there's no point to go and compete and just say, oh, I just want to gain some experience. It's like sportsmanship. We go for the first place, so we can push our boundary, we can do the best out of us. But in between that, I really focus on the progress, like how we improve as a team and myself. Like, as a roaster, how can we push our boundary further on roasting in one particular coffee? Like, we pick some coffee, it's really nice, but one roast profile would never satisfy on the comp day. We need to roast maybe 10, 12, or even 20 different profiles to fit in that exactly comp day, that particular grinder, particular machine that we are actually using on that day. So that's a difficulty and that's a challenge as a roaster need to be facing. That's what Luke's job is. Basically, they have like the grind by time, free settings, and then easy dialing with my grind size. And then I play around with this grinder almost a month, like thanks VA to let us have a machine to play around with it. And also, the espresso just tastes good out of it, like just consistent temperature. I connect with my phone throughout the time, and then it just comes out. I can adjust my plumb pressure, I can adjust my yield, I can adjust the temperature inside. My espresso is brewing like 93.5 degrees, which is like a default setup. It's really amazing. So as a barista, we need to face the challenge of how to dial in the coffee during the day. We need to find out, even though we got a good roast profile, we're familiar with the machine, but how can we dial in coffee in a very short time? We are facing the challenge of the humidity, the weather, the water might be different. Like, we travel a lot. Sometimes we might competing in Melbourne, competing in Sydney, we're facing the same challenge. And how do we gain more knowledge so we can fix the coffee in a very short time? And lastly, just facing the pressure as well. Like, in Australia, baristas have a lot of like pressure while they're working behind the bar. It's mainly coming from the workflow, like how fast they can make it. Try to make like a lot of coffee in a very short time, but without making mistake. So I think same thing when we're doing the competition. We try to manage the workflow so we don't need to stress out a lot while making a lot of drinks. But at the meantime, we are also trying to manage to get the consistency out in front of people while we're making the drinks. So that's a lot of improvement and a lot of like experience that we can learn, and we can gain that knowledge throughout we preparing for a competition. So it's not just about getting the first place, but we also really enjoy the progress while we preparing it, and also enjoying the knowledge. And in between that, we work with a lot of people. Like, we can source really amazing coffee from all around in the world. It's like some Panama coffee, some Ethiopian coffee. We can have a really close relationship with the producers, that knowing the story behind them and knowing the effort that have been put in the origin, so we can honor them in what we trying to do in the competitions. So back into the question, are we looking for the first place? Yes, because people always honor in the first place. Yep. And the first place, you can just get a bit more attention, but also comes a bit more responsibility. So we can do something for specialty coffee industry. So we can honor some coffee farms that they needs to be honored, and we can use we can just help out or empower the barista that they struggling with the workflow or struggling with the career. So how can we use that responsibility to we just have that responsibility so that we can empower the industry.
When you went into this competition, you didn't have a chance to play with this gear, but now that you can touch and feel it, no one's going to know this, right? Because these are your little tips. What have you done specifically to have an edge over somebody else in the competition? Because no one's going to see this until after the comp. So what have you done, mate? Have you changed anything with temperatures or the heat on the grinder, or what have you done on the Prima specifically to have an advantage?
Was so good because every single coffee they have certain brewing temperature to maximize the flavor profile. For example, if you using some nice wash coffee, you might want to brew it at 94, 94.5 degree, and if you brew it at 92 degrees, it tastes completely different. So I got a chance get in touch with it earlier, so I can very micromanage my roast profile, specific age date, and I can also customize all the brewing temperature for that specific profile on my coffee.
But what did you do, Jim? I'm asking for specifics. What did you do? You got the coffee, you got the age right.
Okay.
What did you change on settings wise to make it perfect for you?
I taste the coffee in 92 degree brewing temperature, and then it ends up becomes a little bit tight. It's just very salty, not extracted enough. So I raised it up to 93, and then it tastes better. Raised it to 94. And then it's slightly tasting over, so I pull it back a little bit, 93.5 degree, which is amazing. And going back to the grinders, and we did a lot of tests as well, like can I try it on a single dose? Can I try it on, what's the weight that you put it inside the hopper? Like 500 gram, a kilo, or maybe can I use just one dose? Is that enough pressure to grind the coffee? So it ends up I'm using like around 100 kilos coffee in there to giving enough pressure, so it getting me a pretty consistent grind profile. And also I got a chance to play around with the grind size adjustment as well, because as you see there's random numbers in there, I have no idea what it is. If I just jump in random machine, I have no idea where it goes to. So little tricks for you guys to quickly dial in the grinders. So just continually pressing it, and then just keep grinding it finer until you heard the burr has been touching each other. That's what we call a 0 point. Very similar when you're having an EK, when you have a flat burr grinders, you were doing the very similar things. Once you're hearing the burr start touching each other, you can stop and then reset the dial to 0, and now you know where your 0 point is. So that's a very quick, efficient way. You don't even need to grind any coffees out of it, but you can find the 0 point out of the grinders within like 20 seconds. Just go and do it. Like my first competition were actually, I willing to compete before COVID. COVID sounds like a long time ago, but actually, and I was hesitated. I was like, oh, I'm not good enough. I shouldn't be competing. I'm not well prepared, and ends up just wait another 2 and 3 years for my first competition. So if you're a barista, if you are willing to compete, just go and do it. Like, you learn throughout the preparation, you learn throughout you competing. Don't think about the outcome. Just go and do it. Read the rules, and then prepare whatever you know now. Learn from this time, and then go for the next time. Just go over and over again. We just keep learning. Even people compete a lot, they're still learning every year. So it's just a learning path. It would never end, but it will also never start if you're never going to compete. So yeah.
Alright everybody, welcome back to the Oakley Barista Competition, New South Wales ACT Community Coffee Championship. We have Jim Lin from Artisti Coffee Roaster. Artisti Coffee Roaster. Put your hands together for Jim. And welcome judges.
More coffee. warm welcome to you all. I think it's a good question. Like, if you asked me like 2 months ago, I'd probably tell you, nah, like I'm not good enough. Like, I'd probably say people who were in the first place in the world is just, I know how much effort that they put it in. Past 15, 20 years, they're all just working on competitions, they're just working in luxury. They're putting a lot of effort on practicing and finding a new way to improve the coffee industry. So I will always tell myself like, just a little bit self-talking like, I'm not good enough, I can never beat them, not beating them, or I will never be the same level as what they have been done. But it's a goal that we always try to do. I wouldn't say right now, it's part of the competition thing as well. While we preparing for it, it's a lot of self-reflections. Right now, I don't limit myself now. I would say I would set a goal, as like Ryan said, we will always try to aim the first place in the world. However, if we couldn't nail it, means there's some room that we need to be improved, and then we just come back on it, we practice again, we prepare better, and then we go again, and then following the same goal, and one day I think we can nail it. Today, I invite you to experience coffee as a time machine, where each sip has the power to connect us to different moments from our life. Now I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and start to imagine. You have just woken from deep, comfortable sleep. I'm actually good at taking advice. You guys tell me what to do and I'll do it. But however, I'm not so good at asking for help. I thought I can do resting. I thought I can prepare my own routine without asking for help, or I'm just afraid to ask for help. And then I just ignoring how much support that you guys gave it to me, like Ryan, the whole Artisti team, Jimmy. So they're just so supportive and so willing to offer to help. And I'm still learning. It's part of the, as I said, it's part of the way that preparing competition is just improving coffee quality. At the meantime, the characteristic as a barista, I also call it, like being humble, being willing to listen and willing to ask for help, and willing to accept the helps from the others. And it's kind of shaping not just a good competitor, also shaping myself or every competitor as a better person, better barista. So one day, let's say they're the first place in the world, they can really representing the industry, they can really willing to work in every single person in the industry, so that they can push the coffee industry a bit further, willing to offer help to whoever needs the help, and really, yeah.
Yeah, well, best of luck, Jim, for your upcoming competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all right behind you and hoping you get number one, mate.
Finger crossed, finger crossed.
And now you better get back to roasting samples.
Yeah, a lot of work to be done. It's too much.
Second place, the only barista competition. Jim Lin! Yeah!